Yeah, so I got a chance to meet Cornell West back in 2008 in Harlem at the Riverside Church. It was a real blessing to meet him. I mean, he's a brilliant man. I've read some of his books, maybe three to four of his books. He's running for president. I'm not sure if he's still running, but he was running at some point. He doesn't have the numbers to obviously compete with, Joe Biden at the time or Kamala now. And he probably wouldn't beat Donald Trump. But nonetheless, I think he's a brilliant guy. I don't know if he would actually really ever have a chance to be president. Someone like him, he's probably too far left and too leaning towards what most would call socialism. But I think when it comes to politicians, he would be an ideal, honest politician. I'm just watching this video he did with 19 Keys, I think is really dope on the Earn Your Leisure channel. He's basically talking about how the two-party system is really something that from the start not the best thing. But I think people know that deep down inside, but it's just the system that we've been in. So we got two gangs. We have Democrat and we have Republican. I'm really looking at the Republican Party because they actually say where they stand on issues. Cornel West is dope because I think that if he was a president as a Democratic president, he's very honest. He's very truthful. So he's talking about this with 19 Keys, how truthful he is and how truth needs to basically how as a politician, as a leader, you don't want to be bought out and paid for by, donors, lobbyists and so on. But we know how the game goes. You know what I'm saying? In an ideal world, it'd be great if it didn't work like that, but it does. And he's talking with 19 Keys about that.
So that the truth telling must proceed. But you can't tell the truth if you for sale.
Mm.
That's a noose around your neck. And we end up then with what? We end up with a conception of politics in which it's only focused on the present and the future is a repetition of the present. So any conception of the future is what? Well, you got to vote for Biden. Got to vote for the Democrats. Black people been voting for these Democrats all this time. Look at all this social misery. Look at this suffering. Look at the gentrification of these folk coming in because they got money-driven, market-driven real estate policies and so forth. The child poverty. What is almost 40% of black children living in poverty, and they gonna tell us this is an excellent economy. No, it ain't.
Mm.
Even people who are poor, the thing about America is people still deeply believe in capitalism, I believe. You know what I'm saying? So I think Cornell is really on point with what he has to say. I really wish someone like him would gain some real traction in the Democratic Party. But he's too truthful, he's too real, and you got to be somewhat of a politician, quote unquote, to even get to the point where you're running as the front runner. So, but he's speaking some real knowledge here. So I'm going to play a little bit more of this.
Kamala Harris says it. If James Clyburn says it, this is a great economy. Quit lying.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for Jamal and Letitia. It's not for them. It ain't great.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? So quit just imitating the mainstream in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is that you always must stress the three dimensions of time: the past, the future, and the present. So Sankofa, this is what our black nationalist brothers and sisters
Yes,
have
sir.
taught us, right?
Yes, sir.
You don't proceed unless you connect with the best of the past.
Yes, sir.
Well, what capitalist culture does and what the market-driven culture does is try to convince black folk and everybody else, but especially black folk, we don't have access to the best of our past.
Mm.
All we have access is the dynamics of the present. And the dynamics of the present is money, money, money. It's like Wu-Tang Clan, cream.
Yes, sir.
Cash rules everything around me. They're not rule me, but it's around me.
That's the cultural value.
That's the dominant.
The reason why I'm really talking about this video is that what I think for the Democratic Party, where what's happened now is that they really are just playing on what's going on currently. They're not really focused on the past. They're really focused on the dynamics of right now. And honestly, I don't think they're really focused so much on the future. I think they're really focused on getting in office a little bit further, but I don't think there's a real game plan to really address what's going on in America. particularly if talking about the black community. I think that black people are far more conservative than what we realize, and for the Democratic Party, like I said in many videos, they got to rebrand themselves and really turn into something that resonates with solving problems, not just making people feel good and coming around every 4 years dancing. And I wanted to just talk about this video. I think Cornell West is so amazing, and I really wish somebody like him in an ideal world, I think he would be a great president, but he's just too honest and too real.